time you were the market leader in digital payment, but now Google Pay and Phone Pay dominate about 86% of the market share. How do you plan to regain your position?
That business that you're talking was being done by Paytm Bank. Now, for the first time after since 2014, Paytm has started to do the business. We are increasing our market share, which is what it is. So we'll start from there.
So let's talk about this product that you have launched today.
Yes.
Sir. Please tell us about this new product and also what are the key features that is different from the other
So Paytm Soundbox, you've seen everywhere, has the method that it speaks the amount of the money. We added the element that you can talk about it. Yeah, that's right. So it can make a payment. So this shows the amount that the customer has made. It can speak, it can do the zero volume. So at many point of times, shopkeepers do not want to speak the amount. They can keep seeing it. So we made it a visual sound box. So this is a visual sound box, not just an audio sound box.
And what are the other key features?
The other features are it is 4G, it is long battery life. It also is something that it can stay on for 10 days. This is one of the biggest features. In addition, this also becomes the screen to check the total balance and number of payments. So payments, battery, availability, and the connectivity has a fallback. You can connect on many networks, making it always on, always available, and long term.
When will it be available?
It's available today. It's available today in terms of the availability and the differentiation. It is a feature that we added extra without any extra cost. So we just added more product features without an extra cost.
This is a key demand for fintech has now been the implementation of MDR.
Yes.
Where do you stand on that?
I think the small shopkeepers which we see are MDR sensitive, but the big businesses are not. As you know, the big retailers, big online merchants can afford and should rather pay the MDR. So I think the implementation of MDR is an apt and opportune time. At the same point of time, I would request those who are implementing it that it should be done for big ones, and the small ones can be spared for that.
So about the US tariffs, the kind of tariffs that have been coming, so also about the startups, I mean in context with the startups, because we are...
So US tariffs more or less create a troubled business environment, which creates limitation on the startup funding. But as far as the operations are concerned, because we guys are very early on, primarily looking at India as a market. So Indian startups, because they work in India as a market, do not get so much impacted by tariff. But as I am saying, that every big event has a domino effect. So it will reach as a funding effect, not as a market effect for startups.
Will it have a short-term effect or a long-term effect?
Funding impact, all funding impacts are that they're always short term, because India's opportunity is long term, so money finally will come back.
So Piyush Goyal yesterday said that we need to catch up with China in terms of starting new startups, and also he was saying that we need to change our perspective in terms of we should go to AI and all of those things rather than investing in groceries and all of that.
So I'm going to say that the first thing I'm very proud of is that we in India are talking startups mainstream, and this is being talked about by you guys and our government and our entrepreneurs, because earlier many of us would do some things would not even get talked about. So first and foremost, I think this is truly an acknowledgement of our Honorable Prime Minister's Startup India and Digital India mission, that there are companies and this is a mainstream talk. First. Secondly, there is no doubt about it. I mean, India should build, and why would we not build? And there are companies that are building AI startups or space startups and those deep tech startups. And the best part is that what we are building today may be the opportunity of today what we are seeing, but the companies which have resources are building for the long term. So not just the deep tech, but also the today's requirement. The fact that technology offers an opportunity to solve for a few things is a great opportunity, but that does not mean that we will not want to do large like AI or a semiconductor opportunity, and you're seeing the investments in that also.
So he also said that the startups that are there in India, so most of the startups they are being bought by the global firms rather than in India.
I really want more India capital, and I have to give it to our regulators in SEBI that they allowed a lot of Indian startup to list, and that is the best. And as you are seeing, the startups are coming back to India, is another acknowledgement that being an Indian and being listed in India is the coveted space for startups. So that is where the trick is, that India is not only doing the correct things, it is also attracting the companies of ours who were outside. So you read that in newspaper all the time. So I'd say that no doubt about it, what happened in the past is a lesson. What is happening in future and what is happening in now is our opportunity, and this is very clear that India has got investors, India has got customer, India has got momentum, and India has got startups.
So would you say that the comparison that was made between from China startups and India startups then was unfair?
No, why would it be unfair? The fact is that there are.
Because you say that we are not at the
No, I'm not trying to say that it is unfair. I'm going to say that as a government, as us, I would want to build a deep tech startup. I would want to build the AI startup, but the resources are not there, or resources are there, access is there or not. At the same point in time, it does not mean that we need not build those startups. My point is we need to build also, and at the same point in time, there are AI startups, by the way, there are space startups. So I think the social media post could have had a context of generation in a way, but at the same point of time, I remember this tweet, and then there was a person who tweeted that we have a 15-minute charging EV machine. I'm sure I retweeted that guy. So it may be that we as media and we as press or we as communication, I mean, some of us on social media also have an obligation to bring up those things. It does not mean that India will not produce the deep tech startups. So it's a great opportunity, and I would say today the mature businesses are this. So if you talk about the previous generation businesses, those are also traditional businesses and new businesses. The lucky part of being in India is that the new age businesses, which are led by technology, are publicly acknowledged as customer, publicly acknowledged in investment, and there are public market shareholders within India. And I think that's a success that we need to look at.
So are there any?
Inevitably, the startups mean the risk means the capital. Access to capital is the critical thing.
Pool of capital is risk.
It is what is the differentiator, and that is why the stock market in India even makes more sense. So SME stock market, and I think another thing that I'm very proud of is, and I get to see when I visit these events and I get to learn that there are those fund of funds.
Thank you.